Yo, guys, what up, man? We're back in here for another show, the What podcast, which stands for We Have Actual Talks. We have actual talks. So that's also what we're doing in here, man. So, look, man, Red, how was your week, man? How was your week?
Man, it's been good. It's been good. Things are starting to slowly get back to normal. Things are opening up a little bit. So, like, I feel like life's like a bit more organized again. Like, it's just staying at home with all this there's too much free time is not good for you. You need the scheduling, organization. It just helps. I get, for me at least, like structure helps me be more productive. When you give me just freedom,
but see, that's the weird thing, because I think it's because I told you, I've always said that I hated school. I really hated school. But I suppose what I can somehow appreciate from school is it gave you guidelines. Because I said that, one thing that school has helped me with, like, let's say doing the football and everything, is scheduling and having a timetable and meeting deadlines. Because I think that's a very good thing that has helped me. But I just think that I don't like a structure being enforced upon me. But I think in my life, I now know that, I actually need a structure. I think I need to know that, okay, let me do some sit-ups now. Let me go for a run here now. Okay, let me make sure that I've uploaded these amounts of videos. Let me make sure that I've done these kinds of things. So, because I think once you just have these goals, it's going to be key. But,
Absolutely.
people may be wondering why I'm actually wearing this. Because I work from home. So obviously, like, my part-time job is like I'm a correspondent for like a TV channel. So obviously I've got to dress up and everything. So like I have like because obviously I have like my home studio here and everything. So I was working for both. So that's why I'm in this. In this. So wait, is that France?
98? For the people asking, it is. It's down at the back 10.
So is that 98?
98, yeah. It's a replica jersey. Replica jersey. Got it online. So it's like Adidas, but like it does have like this tag right here, which I honestly would not have bought it had I known this was right here, because it kind of bothers me. But it is pretty nice, man. But yeah, no, I had to, guys. Last time the comments I saw, you guys were saying, "Oh, HH had the better jersey." I'm like, no, I can't let HH have this one. I need to come back with.
I don't have a flurry of jerseys, because if we're going to do a jersey war, you're going to win, because I have.
It's true
for jerseys. So I've got obviously the Inter Ronaldo, the Brazil 94 jersey, the Nigeria 96 jersey, and Ronaldinho Barcelona. Because my Chelsea jersey, I know my Chelsea jersey is in like my family house, man. So I need to find it. It's the away jersey and everything. So
yeah, no, like jerseys now I love. Like from when I was a kid, I think the first jersey I ever got, and it was like a gift. The first jersey I got was Zidane 2006, which that one I still have actually. Like it's from when I was from 2006 from that World Cup.
I'm trying to think. Wait, first jersey might have been Ajax. The R9? No, Ajax. No, the 95, 96 Ajax jersey. Because I used to live in Switzerland in 96 to 98, and I remember it was either the Ajax 95 jersey. Again, showing my age, it was either the Ajax 95 jersey or the AC Milan 95 jersey. It was one of those. So those are my first jerseys, either the Milan or the Ajax one in 95. So okay, good, man. Look, man, we have lots of stuff to do. So look,
let's get into it.
Let's just kick it in, man. Let me just hit my stream, man. Let's just kick it in right now. Trump. So Trump. So basically, I think the theme for this, because the live chat will be in here. I'll be viewing any dubs you send or any questions you send. I'll be viewing the live chat as well. So I'll be monitoring that. So Trump has been banned from Facebook. Well, his ban has been upheld until January 2023. So obviously, because again, I'm not really too sure about American law and everything, but he can still run for president for the 2024 election, because obviously he only did one term. So obviously, it won't really mess up his chances for running, but it's still a massive axe in his kind of path towards trying to be president again, because again, from now until at least January 2023, which is when he'll be reviewed, he won't be seen. So the theme of this is censorship. So obviously there's another one, slightly more controversial, but I thought let's start with the less controversial one about themes of censorship. So
I think the other one's way more controversial, by the way. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah. But this one, so here's the thing, because this went back to when he was initially banned and taken off Twitter, because you can see both sides. And I was actually having an argument with someone about it on a Discord. So on one hand, you say to yourselves that censorship is bad. I don't like censorship. For me, I'm like, if you're racist, I want to know that you're racist. The worst thing is somebody who smiles at you, but then he's racist behind closed doors. And a suppressed society breeds psychopaths who will act out based on suppression. That's why they say that there are so many like stabbings and like crazy people in Japan, because the society is so homogenous and so suppressed. So you have guys who just go psycho because they have to act out because of suppression. So my thing is that you want to be able to you want to have different points of view. Whether you're left, centrist, right, it's good to have different points of view. You don't have to agree, but it has to exist. But now, yes, that may be true, but do things change when, let's say, you have a Trump who is not a regular Joe? He isn't one of us who don't have millions of views. He's one of us where something you could say could change policy, could even forget change policy, could change how people view the world based on where America sits as a current superpower. So then, should censorship apply to him based on where he is, or should it be a case of no, whoever you are, however powerful you are, nobody should be censored. Everyone should be free to say what they say, even though certain individuals, by not censoring them based on their power, it could lead to issues.
Yep. No, see, it just here's the thing. This goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Structure. Look, man, limitation. Censorship. I agree. Censorship is bad, but limitations is good. Sometimes you have to understand, like, in what context are we talking about it? For example, why I think the Nigeria situation is way worse is because that's an active world leader that is representing a country of 200 plus million. And for a private organization to say that, nope, we don't agree with your views, and imposing their own views onto him, and because he doesn't comply, they just remove his account. I feel like that is more dangerous, in my opinion. For Trump, it's a bit tricky because Trump is no longer an active person in office, or he's not representing anyone but himself. So in what I think personally, I agree with what happened to Trump. And here's why. One, you're not an elected official. You're not representing anybody. You're not really part of any movement. But also at the same time, you have a big following that are sort of they like the fact that Trump is very overt with a lot of the things that he says, because it galvanizes them and it gets them more organized. And you see a lot of like far right groups where they fall into that, and he pushes a lot of dangerous rhetoric where like we can't just allow him to just let loose anytime he wants. Like, and it's not because what he's saying is facts. So the thing is, if what he was saying is factual, I would have backed him. But it's because what he says is just purely based off of like narratives. It's just agendas. He just pushes agendas for certain groups. It's not really, there's no really method to his madness, really. You just depend, like, if you're good to him, he's going to be good to you. If you're mean to him, he's going to be mean to you. And anybody that's willing to help him out, he'll shake their hand. He doesn't really care about his allies. That's why, like, a lot of like,
so why again do you think, forget about him just being processed? Okay, forget about him not being an elected official, because even more so, if he's saying that he's not an elected official and he's just now a regular guy, then why should he be censored? I'm just a regular dude.
Because
so if you're going to censor me, why aren't you censoring the crazy psychopath that just tweets out all this random stuff because I'm more popular or famous? I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
No, I understand. The thing is he again, I'm not pro censorship, but like the thing is, Donald Trump is a very unique case because he has a power, he has charisma. He speaks where if you were 4 years old, you can understand him, or if you're 60 years old, you can understand him. He has like people follow him, like he pulls in numbers. Like I'm 100% sure that they rigged the election against him probably this year. I'm not saying they did. I'm just saying, like, probably, like, you know what? I would understand if they did, because, man, like, he moves people, man. Like, he has, and the thing is, that is very dangerous, because, like, that's how you get, like, Hitler's, for example, those kind of leaders that get that get people in the feels, like that's when people are most vulnerable, and you can get them to do anything.
You see, because it's funny you mentioned Hitler, because that is the example I used for the arguments I had with someone on Discord. So this guy on Discord, he said, nope, all censorship is wrong. All censorship is wrong. You should never censor anyone. I was like, okay, cool. But then he refused to respond. I said, okay, cool. All censorship is wrong. Then I said to him that, what if Twitter existed in 1939 or 1937 and Hitler was allowed to freely use Twitter? Or let's say there's a modern day Hitler right now, and he's allowed to just spout out this stuff and galvanize people. Should he still be censored? And the guy said, no, all censorship is wrong. No. Answer my question. Don't just answer by saying all censorship is wrong. Would you agree to a pro-white guy who says kill all blacks should be murdered, and he should not be censored? He should be allowed to spout rhetoric that says that he wants all blacks to be killed. And this guy, who I know was black, still said, "Oh no, you're just twisting your words. I'm not going to say anything." But no. You see, you've got to keep the same energy. You can't
pick and choose.
You cannot pick and choose. If you're saying all censorship is wrong, that means all censorship is wrong. Whereas the bottom line is censorship generally is wrong, but there are particular situations where, and also, but see, Reddit. Now, this is the key point. If you're now focusing on Facebook and Twitter isn't the UN. Mm-hmm. They're not like
they're private organizations.
Yeah, they're not a government building. It's a dude who created this virtual platform that somehow has become this huge, massive thing. But still, because I created this virtual platform, I have rules. So sort of like, and I've been kicked off so many forums. It's crazy. Namely mostly Transformers forums, because I hated the Transformers movies. But when you go into the forum, there are guys that before you even sign up, these are the guidelines. If you go against these guidelines, or if you go against any of these guidelines, strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, you're out. So these are the guidelines. You'll be given a warning, another warning. After that, you're out. So I don't have to adhere to, wait a minute, it's free speech. People, no. It's my platform. So for Jack Dorsey was like, no, this is my platform called Twitter. These are my rules, and I don't have to be at the behest of some kind of general internet rules. So if I felt that Trump somehow went against the guidelines that I can either create, updates, or do whatever, I have every right to kick him off, and you can't do anything about it.
And it's like, here's the thing, right? Like, it depends on what platform you're talking about, because like if you go towards like Twitter, yes, it's very left leaning, so they will censor in that aspect. Facebook goes where the money is. I'd say Facebook is like down the middle. You can go both ways. YouTube is very right leaning. YouTube, if you just like follow the big creators, you'll always end up on Ben Shapiro, you always end up on right wing channels typically, and that's where like they breed almost. I think naturally there's always going to be like that balance out there, like for like the censor, like who they censor is going to be. It's not like it's always going to be like one sided, because the world we're in a global environment where it's much more open. But the thing is, we have to differentiate limitations and guidelines, structure, and censorship, because me having a higher standard for my leader or for representatives is not censorship. If I ask him to, when he's speaking, to be considerate of all parties involved, when I ask them to use precise terminology, not just to be fancy, not to speak in layman terms, like just because we want everybody to understand, but for precision, so people can understand like the minute details and nuances in every situation, every problem that exists. That is not censorship. Donald Trump is just, like I said, he's a very unique case. He speaks in dangerous, broad language, broad terminology. And the problem is, because we know that some people are fed up. Like, the thing is, people sometimes are just fed up from life. It could be for a multitude of reasons, but they just want their anger to be directed at one spot. And like Donald Trump is the type that can bring those people together. And I don't think that, I think that it's not really censoring in him. It's essentially like, he is a danger. Essentially, he is a danger, because like, let's be honest, like Trump had 4 years in office, guys. He did nothing. It's not because like they tried to stop him. He's just incompetent. He's not president.
Some people believe that he did do things, and he was
you could look at
he changed everything. So
you can go back and see what he did. Like, pretty much Trump did. Like, Trump is very simple. Like, anybody that's willing to work with him.
Listen, there are his strong supporters that say, no, this guy was our hero, and this guy says it as it is. So it would be very, even if you bring facts, even if you bring irrefutable facts towards people, they will still say, no, he was a hero. He was amazing because he just talked the talk, walked the walk, and he had the swag that no one else did.
I mean, is what it is. If they want to believe that, the fact of the matter is, like, we can't talk to those people. Like, if you're gonna, like, let's say, for example, neglect facts, then sure, go have your freedom of speech, but that's just going to be like old men yelling at a cloud. It's not really relevant, like, to our decision making. We shouldn't pander to those people.
I want to comment because this is interesting. It stops being your platform. I don't even know why you put this in there, but let me just go. So it stops being your platform when it becomes such a huge part of everyone's life. The rules should be made by the government, not Jack. That's insane. Yep. That's insane. Because my thing is that I created something that somehow became popular. Why does my platform now have to now be given to the government? That had nothing to do with the creation of this my platform. That makes no sense.
But the thing is once your company goes public and you're in the public platform, like essentially you do have a responsibility to be almost just like a force to make sure that it's working for everybody and not just sort of like cracking down on rules.
But you said the keyword responsibility. You shouldn't be bound by law. And I think the key word, you want to add moral responsibility. I believe you have a moral responsibility if your platform is super popular, it is run in the right way based on how it can affect society. But once you're not saying that, once you create something off your own back through your own ingenuity that becomes super popular, it should now be given to the government and for the government to use. And we know that if the government now takes it, they'll just use it for their own political agenda. So my thing is, the beauty of the internet is it's like the Wild West. Like the kinds of things that I say on my channel, there is no way I'd be allowed to say that stuff if I was like on a BBC or ITV or so forth. The kind of shows that I see on YouTube, I would never see them on terrestrial TV. No way. It's impossible. Like I live in the UK now. Like in the UK, the TV shows in the 90s were amazing, cutting edge and so forth. For some strange reason, once the 90s ended, all the amazing creativity of TV shows that they just completely went defunct. So now all of those crazy inventive dudes now live on the internet. So a lot of these UK guys that you see, the best shows you see are on the internet, bespoke stuff that is a lot more edgy. So my thing is, if we now say Twitter, Facebook, all this stuff now has to be government run, because once it's government run, that means that you can be tracked, you can be followed, and everyone's digital footprint now gets onto a government database. And then it's like, okay, what is this now? And my thing though is that it's the internet. Hence, because they've always been trying to police the internet. It's impossible. Because
the people,
because right now we are living in a world where it's not who you know, it's what you know. So back in the day before the internet, it's about, okay, do I know this official? Do I know this guy? Who knows this guy? But right now, a guy in his basement might be the most powerful guy in the world. If he understands how to hack this nuclear system, how to hack this place, he is, because he's got the information. So now information is key. So there is no way a government can fully control something. And again, it even goes to the point of my country, Nigeria. Like I was speaking to two guys in Nigeria, and they were saying that because I was saying to them that, look, do they really believe that Nigerians are not going to find a way around a Twitter ban? Like, it is what it is. Nigerians are known for, even if we're not the only guys, but people know Nigerians for fraud, and this online fraud and all this kind of stuff. So it is what it is. But you don't want to paint all Nigerians as that. But what that shows is that Nigerians are
tech savvy.
Yeah, they're extremely tech savvy. They're extremely intelligent. They really know how to find their way around stuff, because it's so crazy. Because when I grew up in Nigeria in the 90s, or this like internet didn't exist. It was non-existent. But just going back now recently and just seeing how everybody has now taken up the internet and so forth, and just how guys have, is to such a degree that even I think Mark Zuckerberg visited Nigeria because of just how active Nigerians have been with regards to Facebook and just to the internet. So my thing though is that you really believe that you shutting down Twitter is going to now somehow stop people. And also as well as like, it's such a crazy move to do, because it's like, okay, because your tweet was deleted and so forth. You're now going to now ensure stop 200 million plus people from using this platform. It's petty and it's just stupid.
See, but here's the thing: you're saying about all these companies earlier about how they have so much power, or people in the comments. This is why they have so much power, is because people are fiending on their product. Is that we need them more than they need us, and it's proof that people would go against their own government just for this platform. When in reality, when they look at it from the outside, be like, well, damn, like Twitter just censored our president. Like whether if you disagree with governments and you think that your government doesn't represent you or whatever, we have to admit, like this is the system that we have in place right now, and we have to have sort of like some sort of respect or reverence to it, right? So like it's better for him to be there and push even 1% of change, like right with his voice, than not him. Then you get nothing at all, right? And I feel like that's why it was so dangerous. Is that look at this? Like they actually censored a government leader, and the people of that nation actually agreed and vilified the leader. Like the complete control of the narrative there is so dangerous to me. It's like how these social media, like if anybody here has played Tekken, have you played Tekken, HH?
Yeah, of course I played Tekken back in the day.
You know, in the story mode, like how essentially the world that they live in is just controlled by corporations. G Corp, you know, Tekken, like the machine, like when it. I feel like this is pretty much where we're heading sort of towards, because people like you have Amazon, like they're close to like making more money than Australia.
But have you heard like they're about to buy MGM for like a few billions and everything? It's mad.
They're huge. Like they're getting so much money, so much power, and like censorship is like again, guys, like you guys can't be surprised when this is happening, because when it's a private organization, like HH said earlier, it's a responsibility, but it's not mandate, right? Like they don't owe you anything. Like you're at the end of the day, you are getting a product, and we sort of traded our privacy for convenience. We traded our luxury, like sort of our power for convenience.
But see, Brett, it's like Xbox Live. Because whenever I used to play Halo on Xbox Live, I was like, as much as you want to, let's say, fight against people who spout racism on like these social media platforms or so forth, it's a really interesting social experiment. Because once anybody says, oh no, racism doesn't really exist that more, or racism is not as much as it used to be, I'm like, oh, it's not? Black guy, come play Halo or Call of Duty on Xbox Live and listen to an 11 or 12-year-old starts to call you black this, black that, black this, black that. Because what you now see on social media is the avatar with the egg that's now anonymous. Nothing can be traced. I can now say what I truly feel. Because on the streets, that 12-year-old isn't going up to that 6'6" black guy and saying blah blah, because you know that you will get your face broken. But behind this virtual wall, where you don't know what I look like, you don't know my address, you don't know where I am, I can say anything that I want to. So it's a great social experiment in the sense of, if people know that they can't have any repercussions, they will openly be racist. So you now going out into the world and people smiling in your face and not saying anything to you, that's not truth. That's just, I know I really want to say this to this dude, but if I say it, I'm going to get beat up. But hey, I'm in my house. I've got my headset. I've got my pad and everything. Halo and better yet, FIFA. I get smacked 6-0. I look up the guy who I beat. Oh, he's black. He's so forth. You N1, black monkey this year. Screw you. But you can't find me. You can't see me. You can't say anything to me. So, but that's, in my view, that's, I love that, because that's truth. That's society. That's reality. That's humanity. That is humanity in its rawest, ugliest, realest form. That this world is still extremely racist, and social media shows us that. So, as much as one part of me wants people to do more to stop people from having racial abuse and everything, another part of me is that this is like my example. So my example is anybody that says, oh, no, it's not, it's like, no, look at this 10-year-old. Look at this 12-year-old saying this stuff. This guy is 12 years old in the year 2021, and he's saying all of this stuff that he's obviously getting from his dad, his mom. So this thing is fully generational, and that's just what social media brings. So going back to points of censorship, someone like a Trump, I can understand, because it's like a double-edged sword. I can understand the need to censor him based off the trouble he can bring. But on the other hand no, this exists. And there are people that believe in this. So we have to sit back and say, why do people believe in this? But at the same time, you go to use the Hitler example of, like, let's say Hitler, let's say Twitter was around in 1935 and everything. So this guy is saying that whites are the superior race. You have to be blonde and whites, and everybody's recessive, and Jewish people are demons that must be killed. So on one hand, you're like, whoa, okay. Why does he believe this? Why do thousands and millions believe this and follow him? But at the same time as we are acknowledging this crazy thing that exists in society and this crazy belief that someone has, and the crazy amounts of people that believe in this guy's belief, you've got to stop it. Because as we saw, it led to a world war. Because so many people believed in this, because people are stupid. 99% of people
it's not that there's like the thing is like, right. we have to think about it like, look, we all like to solve mysteries. We all like to have like everything like have a beginning, middle, and end. Like as human beings, like that's what we desire. Like because so like that's why the mob and like they always have patsies, like, or fall guys, right? Because you have to pin it on somebody. You need somebody to be like to be the like to be the conclusion almost to it. So for people, when you have somebody like Trump that comes out and just gives you solutions, he's giving you fall guys. People love that. Like this is it. Like like I don't have a job because immigrants. Done. That's it. We have to get rid of immigrants. How do we get rid of immigrants? Build a wall. Done. Like see, like, people love that. And again, like, I can go say that. I can go out and say these things that Trump is saying. I won't get the same response because maybe I might not have his platform, charisma, background, whatever he has it, right? And he goes out and says it, and it works. And the thing is, like, you had actual people invading a government building in the U.S. You have to think about this. Like the U.S.
and the key thing, Papa Red, Trump knows they're stupid. He knows they're stupid. Hence why he's using them. Yeah, because he's like, say what you want about Trump. He's cunning and he's crafty.
I think you're giving him too much credit. I really think he doesn't know how to control this. I think this went off the rail like 5 years ago in 2016. He even went out once and said, "I could go."
The attention, though, it's the attention. He's still.
He's loving the attention. Of course, he's loving the attention. But what I mean is, like, is that, like, I don't think he himself can control it. I don't think he himself, because now that he already galvanized these people, they've already formed groups. They exist now. Like, this is it. Pandora's box has been opened. Right, we're just gonna have to go through a generation to weed them out over time, and just let them realize that, like people. The thing is like the reason why you can never end problems like racism, like bullying, like homophobia, like ignorance, like these, because even if you solve it amongst a certain generation, right, the new generation that comes up are gonna see these surface level things, and they're gonna have to experience them and grow from those experiences. Like, the best thing we could do as a society is set up a system where when kids are growing up, they're more educated to be less bigoted, to be less for example, like, and we'll have that eventually just from sheer the melting pot, from having the melting pot, like, of our cultures, like all of us. Like, now we're exposed. Like now let's say, for example, I'm aware of more dishes and the differences between like dishes from different countries, or the differences between certain areas and sub areas. Like, but again, if you go 30-40 years ago, if let's say, for example, I was born here in Canada and I grew up in, let's say, Ontario. My whole life I've been in Ontario, and then one day, like, I just see like an Asian guy, right? I don't know what I'm gonna say he's Chinese, because I don't have experience with the Asian culture, right? And like, and even if they were teaching me in school, I would have probably not have like paid attention that well, and to even really know the nuances of it. But now, of course, like, when I go out, there's dozens and dozens and dozens of Asians. When I go online, there's millions of Asians I can find, and I could learn the differences, and I could understand, and I could be more considerate. Now, it's not censorship. It's not what's it called? Social. No, what's the terminology that they use? Like a PC. That's not
Yeah,
PC.
PC.
That's
Woke.
just me being woke. That's just me being respectful to somebody. So I could actually learn from them and them learn from me, and we grow as a society instead of me being like, well, no, I'm going to say however I want to talk about because I'm not going to be PC. I'm going to say like it is. The problem is again, I teach the problem isn't Trump. It's the problem is the people that there are people that actually listen to Trump, right? Like we have to show these people more, not take away from them less. You know what I mean? In a sense, like where,
but show them what?
Like just from mixing, like that's it, just from mixing. When they interact, let's say for example with an Arab Muslim, they'll realize that not all Arab Muslims are terrorists. They interact with
no. That's you're right. A lot of thing, and that's a very key thing because again, like you see, a lot of white people who, let's say, don't have a racist bone in their body or so forth, is because they mix with other people. A lot of white guys who are casual racists and so forth because I don't know any black people. I've never really mixed with them before. But my thing though is that there are people who they don't even want that. You see, because there's another video that I'm working on that I'm going to post soon, and I think we'll talk about it next week, which is the racial pyramid. And where people are in the racial hierarchy, and specifically the guys in the middle who are trying to crawl to get to the top, or rather impress the stuff at the top. But I think people wants to maintain the fact that no, this is how I am, this is what I believe, and I don't even. People are lazy. People are lazy. So people are like, oh, I have to go here and meet him and talk with him and so forth, rather than let me sit back. These are my views. This is how I think. It's simple. It's black or white. Nothing is this complex. Okay, so but let's move, because I want to move on to this one, which is really good. So, now, Beverly Turner. She is maybe some guys in the UK want to. She is a UK presenter. So there's a show in the UK called This Morning.
I saw the clip.
Yes. Yeah. So again, for guys who don't know, there was this debate about vaccinations, and Beverly Turner was making a case for against the vaccine, and saying that no, the vaccination doesn't fully cure things.
It's in trial period.
It's that we are in a trial period, that we are pretty much just test subjects and so forth.
COVID isn't severe enough for us to really need
because they said that, okay, the average age of people who die from COVID is like 82, and why should a 22-year-old be used as a test subject and so forth? And then she was really so cool. So you would say, wait, okay, so wait, what's there to talk about? Now,
what's her background? What's her background?
She's a TV presenter. Like I've seen her a lot being,
but just a TV presenter, not a doctor or anything, right?
No.
Okay,
no. Like from what I know, she's a TV presenter that's been working on TV for ages, because I've seen her on TV for ages. So my thinking is that doctor or not, scientist or not, I mean, okay, so basically the issue is she has now been barred from coming onto This Morning, and she's not been allowed to come onto the TV show and everything based on people would assume her views. Now, I like that you bring up the point that she's not a scientist, which is true. If you don't have proper scientific data and this information and so forth, you shouldn't come out. You see, Red, okay, because it goes back to what we said last week. So my train of thought was that, okay, you're not a scientist, you don't have medical expertise, you're in no place to now come and say, this doesn't work, when, wait a minute, you're not living with this scientist, you don't have the expertise to be able to come on a platform and say, oh no, the vaccine is wrong. But I'm an individual. Don't I have a right to my opinion? First thing, don't have a right to my opinion, first thing. Second point, this is the most important point. You don't have to listen to me. Goes back to 99% of the world who are sheep and are stupid. If I'm viewing something, this is the intelligence person, and I'll go to the 90%. The person with a brain will look and say, okay, that's that person's point. That's that person's point. Let me go on to newscientist.com. Let me go up to NHS. Let me go up to these university sites where these professors give their viewpoints, and let me see what they say. Because I've heard from him, I've heard from her, him, her, boom, cool. Now, if I'm making a decision about anything to do with the medicine, hello, Mr. Scientist, hello, Mr. Professor, hello, Mr. Doctor. But the issue is that is in a utopia. The reality is people want to believe what they want to believe, and what they need is who shares my viewpoint. This expert is saying, hey, this thing is cool, but I've got misgivings. But what I need is another person, even better, a famous person, a popular person to share my viewpoint. I'm like, aha, boom, there you go. She said it, boom. Because when you go onto Twitter, you see loads of people saying, oh my God, she's been shot down, all this and everything. Because when I listened to her points, I was like, okay, she makes some interesting points and everything, but I don't necessarily agree with her. But she made some interesting points that you can go and research and say, how many people have actually died from this? How long does it really take a vaccine to come through? How long does it take before they actually roll out a vaccine beyond the test subjects into the general public? So you should just consume what is said, then do your own independent research.
See, then here's the problem. Then instead of just banning her, cancel the entire TV show, because clearly it's a stupid premise. If you're just going to bring people who aren't experts to just talk about a topic where they collected facts that suit their narrative, then that's just a dumb TV show. It's just a cancer on this society that makes people dumber and dumber.
No, but Red, why that is important is it's why it's important. It goes back to my exposed life point. Scientists have said, this is what this is. This vaccine works. You should take the vaccine, and a vaccination is the only way we can get out of the pandemic. Wait. Scientists have said, take the vaccine. Vaccines are how we can come out of this pandemic. Why are there then people who don't believe the scientists? So rather than saying that these guys are uneducated, you should be like, wait a minute. Why don't they listen to the experts? What is the reason that they don't listen to the experts? These are guys who have dedicated their lives to science, to chemistry, to biology, and so forth, who have said, hey, we've come up with this stuff and we believe, boom, boom, boom. So why do you, individual who isn't a scientist, believe this? So
people don't like, they think that scientists are part of the man. They think it's part of, they think that they're rebelling and that they're part of Big Brother or some like Orwellian future.
And this is where we now get to the points of it. Because again, what has happened in the UK is, I don't know how it is in Canada or everything, but I'm sure guys in the live chats will agree with me. There is a massive anti-vaccination, anti-lockdown thing that's happened. Like,
I mean, anti-vaxxers have existed for the past decade. Like, social media has contributed to that. Like, we've heard of anti-vaxxers. Like, I don't know if any of you watched Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, but he did an episode on it like 5 years ago, like where people were against just vaccines in general. Like, here's the thing, HH. Like, okay, look, here's what I would do if I were her, right?
Not in general. Most guys take the flu vaccine. No, this is different. This is different because people take the flu vaccine. People take most vaccines. Why this is different from people is this is a virus that's come out of nowhere, and it is the swiftness with which they have come up with this vaccine.
You need 3 years to put shampoo on the shelves. You need 3 years of trials to put shampoo on the shelf. Like, so, I 100% get that why people are very skeptical with it. Like, okay, here's my thing. Like, mind you guys, I'm just some guy on the internet, so don't take any of what I say very seriously, especially because it's all medical. Always consult your local doctor, and I think that you'll find answers. But like, here's the thing, HH. Here's where I stand on the vaccines. I'm in no rush. Like I said, let everybody else go get the vaccine, herd immunity, get all that done, and I'll just wait for better alternatives or more like precise alternatives. Like, and I do that not just with vaccines though. Like even for the PS5, I didn't buy the PS5. I'm waiting for the second wave to come out, right? So I could buy a better version, because usually the first ones have some, I had that with my Xbox 360. And I learned that my lesson from there, and I've always bought the second wave of consoles every time after that. So I'm not saying that because I'm anti-vaccines, because I am pro-vaccines. I think medical science has come a long way for us to shrug at it and turn away from it, because like look at the luxuries we have right now. Like like doctors, like I know for a fact, like this is a little personal information about me, but like my ex, I was with her for 7 years. She studied to be a neurosurgeon. Like, so she was very so I've seen like how much doctors have to put in work to study and learn and sleepless nights, and they work their asses off. Like, so for me, just some guy who sat and watched a 2-minute clip off of Good Morning Britain, where a girl just comes out and just throws out numbers that I can't even verify because she threw a lot of information, to come and tell me like, oh, you should go be against it and be skeptical. I'm like, I think I'm gonna listen to the doctor. But HH, here's the key thing, right? Is again, we have to stop giving attention to things that glimmer and shine. Just because somebody sits in a nice studio, they look pretty, they're saying stuff that sound nice, doesn't mean that is good or valid information.
But Red, this goes back to our conversation last week with regards to sports people. Why should sports people make political messages? Shouldn't this be with people who are educated and have lived this through their entire life? But the reality is, people are more likely to listen to the glitzy, shiny thing than a guy with glasses, a lab coat, and a pen and paper and so forth, and with like gritty hair, who basically lives his whole life in a lab. Whereas because actually the world is fucked up. People are fucked up. They are strange and they're odd. Because you are right. Who the heck is Beverly Chowder? She's just a TV. From what I know, you're just a TV presenter. But what people want are, I have this belief. I need other people to share this belief to validate it. Even though it doesn't logically make sense, because you're like, well, surely you should listen to the experts. Surely you should. But people are like, no, I don't believe in this vaccine. I think this vaccine is wrong. And I think this lockdown, because you see, the UK, I would like to think that the UK mostly are English people are generally sensible. But also the thing about English people is they're very, very skeptical. So they'll always be like, well, are you sure? So they're not very quick to go with anything. So they'll always question. They'll always question anything that is put towards them. So I think there are a lot of people in the UK that it's weird, because I think there are people in the UK that feel that the scientists are either they're in league with the government, because not in the sense of the scientists are lying. It's just that
the government has to approve scientists to make them work within their borders.
You work hand in hand with the government. So whatever the government wants to put forth, boom. So again, it goes back to the whole thing of the committee. So Boris Johnson, UK PM, says that he wants to push other G7 leaders to have everybody vaccinated by the end of next year. So and also there's this thing called COVAX, where it's like a UN-backed program that tries to get all the affluent nations to donate vaccines to less affluent nations who have lower income. So I think they said like Italy, Germany, and I think Spain said they will basically commit 100 million COVID-19 vaccines to these less privileged nations by the end of the year. So there's a massive push for vaccinations. So they're like, we can't have someone, even if they're not an expert, saying anything to do with anti-vaccination, because it goes against what we're trying to do. So on one hand, it's like, it goes back to the whole censorship thing that, hey, you shouldn't censor anybody because boom, 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 everybody should have freedom of speech. But the UK, like, no, it is important for our economy to get back on track, that as many people are vaccinated as possible. So we need the rhetoric and the messaging throughout TV and throughout everywhere to be vaccinate. So they're like, hey, I don't care whether it's censorship. We can't have someone, because what we don't want is for this to gain traction and for people to now say, well, maybe I don't want to get vaccinated because maybe Beverly Turner has a point. I know the scientists say that that the vaccinations are medically right and they're medically safe, but nah. If I don't have to, well, no, they don't want that, because you don't want to have too many doubters.
Yeah, but like the thing is like, yes, you have those doubters out there, but like what the government is doing right now is working for the silent majority. let's be honest, most people, just want to get this vaccine just so that things could get back to normal. They may think it might be just a placebo effect for all we know. Just like people just, because everything goes back to normal, COVID just comes and goes and like nobody really pays attention to it. Like, because it just hides the symptoms. I really think that's like essentially what people are trying to go towards, is that everybody just wants normalcy. Of course, look, I think personally we have to raise the standard, like, because look, we're adjusting to a new era. We're in the information age, right? We're in an age where information travels so much faster. There's so many sources that the funny thing is, let's go back to censorship. There's two forms of censorship. There's the form where I mute you. I don't give you ID, platform you. You can't say, you can't really reach out to anybody. Book burning, all that stuff. That's censorship. The other form is overflowing information, right? Where information is so overflowing that you can't possibly
disseminate.
Yeah, exactly. What's good and what's wrong. That is censorship. And that is, in fact, people do that intentionally. Like, you can find world leaders that do that, where sometimes, oh shit, some facts coming about a problem that we're doing, murky the waters. Like Edison used to do that with Tesla. You can go look up Edison, how much he had propaganda campaigns to say how much Tesla's electricity was worse for humanity, civilization, stuff like that. Like, it's a trick as old as time. Like, but so like what I mean by that is, like, I think as a society, like, what we should work towards right now to adapt, because like the internet's here, we should put some structure on it, right? Like, this is where you get your proper information, like for medical information. These are the platforms, right? Like, verified platforms, like, have different verification levels, right? This is a social media influencer. This is, so he's more pop culture. This is a medical influencer. This is somebody who you should listen to for these kind of topics and debates. And I also feel like, if you are at the point where you have power, where now you're essentially benefiting off the public and you have that big platform, you should be almost educated. So let's say, for example, if you do have an opinion, right? Like, if I have an opinion about, like, let's say I like the points that I got from her, I'm going to write down those points, and then I'm going to go towards somebody that I trust, that's a doctor, right? That's a medical expert. And I'm going to ask these points, right? Where I'm not debating him, I'm learning from him. And if I don't feel like I wasn't satiated by his responses, what I'll do is find another person I trust, another doctor, get his opinion. Maybe go to a different doctor, get multiple opinions, right? And then come to your own conclusion, right? But like, what we have to do again, like, but this, I know this like sounds like it's a lot of steps and nobody's going to realistically do this. But if we set the precedent and slowly elevate, guys, incremental increases, like, we can adjust and adapt to this new era and actually use it as a powerful tool, instead of us being just tools for these companies to really leverage us in debates so they can get more power.
I do agree that, like, the internet is mad. Again, I think of my mom, like, who forwards me everything, and because my mom has only really begun to really get into the internet in the last few years, so she's like, "Oh, have you seen?" I'm like, "Mom, like, like, not everything on the internet is true." But for someone like my mom, who is just entering into the internet right now, she's just seeing this information. So because there's so much misinformation, she's just saying, "Oh my gosh, that's true. Oh, that's true. That's true. That's true." What's that? A lot of the stuff is BS, and you need to be very internet savvy to know what is real and what is BS. But my thing though is that to control the internet is so hard, because it goes back to my original points. Hackers. It goes back to what, for instance, like, look at how people have tried so hard to ensure that you don't watch movies illegally, or you don't watch football matches illegally, but there are ways around it.
Yeah.
So how do you ensure 100% or 99.9% you can't watch a football match through an illegal stream, or you can't watch a movie through an illegal stream? How do you do that when there is always going to be a smarter rogue dude who says, "Bro, if you pay me this much, or you know what, don't even pay me, just for the fun of it, I'm going to be able to go around this government system, and if you come to my site through this way, you can do all the stuff for free." See, it's the information that you're not dealing with, and how do you control geniuses and the information?
It's not the thing is, I don't want to say control, because you can't control the internet. You can't control people. Like, as much as you want to suppress them, you could oppress them, you could all that stuff. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. Like, Look at Israel Palestine. Israel has way more power, way more influence, way more money. They're a military superpower, and they can't get rid of the Palestinians. It's been 73 years, and the Palestinians there are still resilient, right? You can't control people. You can't suppress people. Like, there's always going to be pushback, right? What you do, HH, is, like I said, educate them. Like, not educate them. I can see it naturally happening right now in kids, right? You know how you mentioned earlier your mother and how she shares everything with you? My nephew is 9 years old. And when he sees a video that he finds fishy, he actually Googles the video. He actually goes like to see like if it's real or not. Like, he'll tell me, oh, that's fake, or that. Kids naturally now, nobody wants to look like a fool out here, right? Like, so these kids live now with the internet that as this is their just regular life, right? This is just how it is. We've always had internet. They're going to be more careful of their sources, right? And slowly we will adapt as society. But like, what we have to do is like to speed in the process is lead by example. Lead by example. Like, I'm very opinionated. I give my opinion on everything. I'm not really the type to shy away from any of these situations. But like, when I give my opinion, I understand the kind of pushback I'm going to receive. I understand the kind of repercussions I might get, like from saying whatever I'm going to say, and if I stand by it or I don't. And I choose my words wisely, and like that's not out of PC or anything like that. It's just out of respect and out of making sure that I'm responsible. Because even if there's one person that I influence that looks up to me or anything, I want to make sure that they get good influences, right? And that's how we should move. If you improve from yourself internally and just elevate your mind level of thinking and your skepticism and like your like a sort of like a healthy intake of information, then other people will be like-minded. And it's a slow and grueling process, but eventually we will get there. Like it's like, think about roads, HH. Think about the Earth existed probably 300-400 years ago, where it was just dirt roads, right? There was no tar or anything. And probably when we got cars, we'd be like, well, why would I want to follow the government's roads? I could drive wherever I want. I bought this car, I can go anywhere I want. But naturally, over time, people just started taking the roads because it's more convenient, because it's better for us. It's just a superior. It's like it's technology that we are adapting with, and it helps us get to places faster. Same thing with information. It's just roads on the internet to information that you're going for, right? You're sharing it. What we have to do is put it in a way where it's just the information is distributed or sort of filed in a way where it's more clear to the people. It's more for example, like one person that I really, really don't like personally.
Okay, so because I'm just get a few messages, so make this point.
I'm just gonna say this, like it's like in how you could manipulate data. Like the reason why I dislike him is Ben Shapiro, right? Ben Shapiro always talks like he's about facts over feelings and all this stuff, and all he does is regurgitate propaganda from 800, 900 years ago, Crusader propaganda. No joke, like that's all he does is, what he does is like he always brings out numbers and statistics and stuff like that to suit his argument of dehumanizing a certain sect of people. And I always wonder, I'm like, well, like, where do you get these statistics? Who did you ask? How did you know? Like did you ask really 33% of Egypt? Like, really? 33%? Egypt has like 100 million people. So you asked 33 million people?
But if you just throw it out, people won't even, people will like, oh, well,
exactly.
He's right.
He just comes
no
out.
No one ever fact checks.
Yeah, 33% of Egyptians believe in Sharia law. Like he just says that shit, and then people be like, "Oh, damn, really? 33%? That's like 33 million." So, well, there's 33 million radical Muslims, right? Like people just go like that, right? So again, like for somebody like me, obviously, because I have some ongoing experience, I was skeptical of that. But let's say, for example, if I didn't have any experiences with Arabs or Muslims or anything like that, and I was just growing up like isolated, I see that. It's fact, right? So that road for me is a bad road. It's going to lead me down a certain way, because once I believe in him, most likely I'm going to follow Blue Lives Matter, and I'm going to be like start thinking about like I'm going to start following that avenue, fall down that pathway, right?
So let me just hit this. So
go ahead.
So guys, send in questions, guys. We're gonna take some questions, man, before we run us. So send in questions in the live chats. If you have any questions or anything, send them in. So from Chainsaw Man DH, who says, first dub, I love this podcast. Big up. Thank you, bro. Thanks, man.
I appreciate the love.
I think obviously me and Red have to think about it, but we're trying to think of where to house all of our podcast stuff and everything, so you guys can listen to them either on Spotify or so forth. But I have them all housed, and then you'll be able to listen to past episodes in podcast form. But yeah, look, man, thanks for the support. So Chainsaw DH says again, censorship hides the problem, does not solve it. Yeah, I mean, you see, that's the thing about censorship. Again, it goes back to my Xbox Live point. So if you say, nope, anybody that says these racial words or everything will be censored and everything. But then once you do that, how do you then stop that 10-year-old from being racist. You censoring him isn't going to stop him from being racist. But if you now remove the censorship and realize that, oh no, this 10-year-old is saying racist things, then you can be like, oh, this is what exists. 10-year-olds are online spouting racist stuff. So how do we now solve it? So who is he getting this stuff from? Why is he getting this stuff from his parents, from friends, from teachers, and so
you know
forth?
what it is?
And then
You know what it is?
through.
I don't like to call anybody under the age of 15 racist. I'll be honest, like before high school, I don't like to call them. What I like to call them is edgy, right? He thinks that him saying that and just pissing off a grown man or saying that stuff, they think it's edgy, it's funny. They know it's wrong. No, trust
under 15, are you sure? Because I remember when I was 14, 13, 12, and there are guys who were like, no, this is what this guy is.
But
now, if you now say like under 11, under 10, then it's like, okay, you're being cool and edgy. Once you enter your teens, now you're not fully formed it and everything, but once you're in your teens,
no, but
I think that under 15 thing, because I remember some guys who were a 14-year-old person is not a guy, but a 14-year-old is more formed in their opinions as a person than a 10-year-old or a 9-year-old or an 8-year-old. Mm-hmm. So,
no, like the thing is, I 100% like, I get what you're saying, that sometimes like there is that situations where like the parents come from, but like in my opinion, like from my experiences, like I've seen that usually kids, they honestly just they just want to be funny. They don't know what they're talking about. They really aren't educated. Like even if you try to explain to them slavery, right? Mm-hmm. Like people don't understand, can't like especially at 14 years old, you can't comprehend 400 years of slavery. Like 400 years. We're not talking about like 50, 60, 70 years, right? Like 400, right? They don't understand that. They don't understand that what they're watching, what they're seeing. They're taking everything at face value, right? And I'm pretty sure, like, for example, even for you as a kid, there's a ton of stuff that you watched that you loved, and now you grew up, you're like, oh, this is garbage because it's just surface level shit. Or it's some stuff that you watch and you watch it as an adult, you're like, wow, this is way deeper than I remembered it. Now, again, like I don't want to.
Specifically, this is I like this. So, from if you say, Red has the right concept but wrong age group. 11-year-olds and under can be classified as edgy. I'm 14. He's 14, and I know people in my age group who are genuinely racist. So, this is a 14-year-old in 2021. He's talking about other 14-year-olds in 2021. I'll respond
to that. HH is like Infinity. Here's the thing: is like when you're at school. Right. When you're at school, you can be very nearsighted, right? Like, because like you're essentially going to a society of like maybe 2,000, 1,000 people in total at the school, right? Mm-hmm. So your experiences with the people around you. Now, once you get to the point where like you're 18, 19, you enter the workforce, you enter like university, you enter the real world as it is, you will mix in with people and you will realize a lot of the things that you believed maybe in high school, that maybe like you had one, like, let's say, for example, you had one black friend that liked chicken. Right. And then you know how that's a common stereotype. But you only knew like 4 or 5 people and like 3 of them like chicken. So you could use that stereotype, like, oh, all black people like, like that kind of negative stereotype. Right. But when you go out into the workforce, you go out in the world and your view becomes much further. You will naturally, you will understand like that you were wrong in the past as a kid. You have to allow children the opportunity to sort of go through these phases. They will learn for themselves. Like obviously, like that's why like whenever it's somebody around under 15, 16, because I believe when you're 16, 17, 18 years old, you're old enough, right? You've had experience, you got your license, you're going out and drinking, you're mixing it up, you're attracted to adults, you start to that kind of behavior should start being weeded out. You should start being educated. But when you're 15, you're going from elementary, middle school, and you're going into like school, like you really don't know anything. You really can only go as far as your parents will drive you. Like it's not really, it's at worst, because for me, racism is institutional, systemic. At worst, what they do is name calling. It's edgy, poor taste, disgusting name calling.
So let me hear this other one. So from Adash3, thank you for the Adash3, who says potential topics, online gurus, and mental health crisis. I mean, I think we'll definitely talk mental health, and let's just even touch on the mental health.
I want to. By the way, I have a big beef with online gurus, especially online gurus that target young men. The whole alpha lifestyle, sigma lifestyle. Like I have beef with those guys because like they.
Why? What's the beef though? They don't want to try and uplift.
No. The thing is, I feel, look, some of them they try to give young men game. I respect that. Look, you want to give some young men game just a little bit, just to understand, like to be a bit more straightforward or anything direct. Some of them embrace like embracing yourself and following your path and prioritizing yourself. I don't mind that. When you use terms like alpha and beta, or you say things that, oh, if you're just nice, then automatically you're just bad. Or if you use terms like, oh, women only want, like as if women are a monolith and two women are the same. That stuff, to be honest with you, to me is cringe. First of all, like guys who force that kind of thought. The fact anybody that tells you alpha and beta, like that stuff is cringe, man. What do you mean? Who are you to think that you're an alpha? What's your pack, bro? What are you talking about? Like that's like these are terminologies we do to understand like animals. They don't apply to actual intelligent human beings. Like and what I mean, like that's why I really don't like that, because it teaches young men some shit that's just not valid. It's not accurate, bro. Like you should, if you're, nothing is worse. And I got this, a girl friend of mine, not my girlfriend, a girl who's a friend of mine told me this. She's like the worst, like the biggest turn off for girls are nice guys who try to act like they're not nice guys, who try to force
wait, sorry, say again.
So the worst thing for a girl, like essentially, is a nice guy who's trying to force not being a nice guy.
Oh yeah, it's because I think one thing that guys have to realize is that women are very perceptive, and they're a lot more perceptive than us. Because women are a lot more, they are very good at reading. They're emotionally intelligent, and they're very good at reading situations. Hence why, if your women can sense desperation a mile away. Miles away, they can sense desperation, and that's the biggest turn off. So they'll either ignore you if you're desperate, or they just use it against you. And they will do it without you even knowing. So that is why, it's so going back to the point of like, nice guys, be who you are. And that is, I think that's what you learn when you grow up, when you go to meet people or you have relationships or you date with people, is be who you are and live and die on that hill. The worst thing is you trying to be someone different, because because again, I always use this thing because it's from like a House of Pain album. The truth crushed to the earth will rise again. So you are a nice guy. And you being a nice guy, you don't get girls walk with you and everything. Like, oh my man, I need to be this huge alpha tough guy and so forth. If you're that and everything, and you're not truthfully that, you will get found out. You'll eventually get found out. And the worst thing
not
is
a nice guy
life.
though. You being polite and just having general human like kindness is not being a nice guy, just because your ulterior motive is to be with that person. So what you're doing is you're just being agreeable, and that's unattractive to anybody. If I were to show up to you, HH, and me and you have a conversation where all I'm doing is like, yep, you're right, HH, spot on. You're not gonna care about my opinion. You're not gonna be like, yeah, Red's always riding my dick. Who cares, right?
But then again, it's like, you see, that's the thing, man. It's like,
here's my rule. Do you want to know how I pursue HH? Like, here's the thing. I just be 100% myself. I act the way I act 24/7. Like, if you see me at work, the way I talk to you guys, the way I talk at work, the way I talk to my friends.
But my thing is that not everybody is comfortable in their skin. Or rather, there are people who, at one point in time, they're not comfortable in their skin, and they need to get to a point where, because let's just
hear me out. Right here, I'm getting there. I'm getting to that, HH.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Is that of course you can have your boundaries. Everybody has their boundaries. Everybody's shy. It takes time, right? And it will take a while. But let's say, for example, but the important thing is being true to yourself. If you don't like something, voice your opinion. If you like something, voice your opinion. Like, let it be known. Let natural chemistry evolve. If, let's say, for example, the girl rejects you, that is fine. Guess what? You're just not her type. I mean, there's plenty of women out there. There's no problem with that. We have to start acting as if rejection is an insult to our character, as if you're getting your value based off of her accepting you.
But there are, no, you are right in a general sense, but emotions are emotions, because we have to, because we can't have that blanketly, because there are guys. Let's just take an example. This guy is really into this girl. Now, obviously, this is why I say to my friend that, do you know that women outnumber men? Do you realize that women in the Western world are different from women in the Far East, different from women in Central? So you not being good, you not get along with women in this neighborhood or in this country, if you now travel to somewhere else, women there are completely different and have a totally different viewpoints. So, but if you just take, Because it's just how it works. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. Life is complex. If there's a guy who I am so into this lady, I was so into her, I am fully attracted and everything, and I thought something was happening, and then I get rejected, I'm going to have a reaction. It is impossible to just say to that guy that's, hey, just let it go, moving and everything. We are human beings and emotional. So once we get emotionally stunted or something just gets to us that negatively impacts us emotionally, we're going to react because we are human beings. It is impossible for us to be robotic and be like, okay, I've been rejected. You know what? She's only one woman. Let me go to someone else.
Hear me out.
So there are individual instances, you know.
No, look, when I was in school, of course, because like you have your high school crush, right? You're gonna always be flustered around her. It's gonna be tough, right? Nearsighted. When I give this advice, guys, please understand that this is when you're outside of school, when you have a bigger pull or a bigger pool of women out there. Like, look, rejection is tough, bro. When you get rejected, it's gonna hurt. Like, it's gonna really, really hurt, bro. What you do, you don't text her. You don't apologize. You don't try to change yourself. You don't try to do things to approve of her. You take that rejection as much as it hurts. You go home, you put your thumb in your mouth, and you cry in the fetal position and listen to music and let it out of your system. Let it out of your system. And then as a man, like, look, you just get that out, get those feelings out. And if you want, you could use it as motivation. Like,
rejection. It builds character.
It does.
And it helps because, again, like, look, the thing about it is that it's going to happen. Life wouldn't make sense. For instance, let's say you're playing a video game and you play it on like novice difficulty, and literally you basically beat every boss in one go. And you finish the game, you're like, okay, cool. But there is more satisfaction when, let's say, you put it on like hard difficulty. You lose, you get back. You lose, you get back. You lose, get back. And then once you now eventually beat the boss after sweating and losing, there is greater satisfaction from that than there is from just, hey, it's been easy. So these rejections and so forth, you feel angry, you're pissed off and everything. But then it builds up and you're like, hey.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is
because
like,
there is, see,
you form a calluses almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny thing because this is like the famous thing that everyone says, but it's true. Like, there are plenty more fish in the sea.
Oh, absolutely.
Plenty more fish. And also, it's the key thing. Stop that bullcrap of soulmate. She's the one. Mm-hmm. That's stupid. The whole thing of like, oh my gosh, she's the one. She's the one. If not, no. Because mathematically, logically, that doesn't make any sense. Okay, there are too many women in this world for that to be like, oh, she is the one out of what, like, how many billion of a woman that there are?
Yeah,
so
the thing is I could be attracted to a woman for a numerous amount of reasons. Sometimes it could be a personality, sometimes it could be physically, sometimes it could just be, let's say, her hard-headedness, for example. There could be something that I can find attractive about a girl. So I do understand what you're saying, Cheech, that there's no really one person, because you could be attracted to multiple people. But like, plus, who wants to give up fishing at the end of the day? The hunt is the best part. Venna gets it, because I'll be honest with you, that is usually for me, is like when I'm getting to know a girl, or like when we're like in that initial stages, it's always the best part of it. And but here's the thing, guys, like, understand that it's a double-edged sword, right? Like, it could either just be clicking, right? Or it could be forced, and you feel hurt, you feel lesser, and you get rejected, and it hurts, right? But like, either way, it doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't make you any worse whether she accepts you. It doesn't make you any better. It doesn't, nothing. You as a person, you're the same before and after this person, and that person is not worse. Stop calling women gold diggers, bro. Stop calling, because like, look, I'll be honest with you. If I'm with a girl and she uses me for a richer guy, I'll be like, you know what? Get your bag, girl. Like, go do your thing. Like, I'm not gonna be mad. I'm like, look, I got my turn. It is what it is. And like, let's be honest, bro. If I was a girl, I would have probably I would have been mad.
So shout out to Martin Rosaro. This is interesting. Let's just break this down. So thanks for the dog, man. Forget the terminologies. Just focus on being a high value male. I'm not saying be cocky, but be confident and know your value and command respect.
Bro, see, Martin's a G, bro. Martin's a G, bro.
But you know what? Let's go back to the point of women are very, very perceptive. Mm-hmm. If a woman, the worst thing you can do is be desperate. That's the worst thing. Because once you are desperate, a woman is going to use that against you. And I have seen this several times, many times when this guy has been so madly in love with this lady and they've been so desperate, and the woman knows that the guy is desperate and they're just using them. So the key thing is you have to, and
As
I think
they
that
should, by the way.
I'm not 100% because you messed up. But my thing is that women are very perceptive, so they can perceive desperation, that they could also perceive confidence. Because I say there's a thin line between self-confidence and arrogance. It's a very thin line between those two. It is very important. Nobody wants to be arrogant, but it's very important to be self-confidence and confidence in yourself.
Yep.
So as much as women like to play hard to get, sometimes as a man, it is also good to also play hard to get in the own male way, rather than just give yourself, because once you just put yourself out there, you're just going to get used and abused. But yeah, have
the thing is,
value for yourself, which I don't think a lot of guys do.
Not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people do. Not just guys, because women fall to this as well. This is why, what I love about what Martin said is not once did he mention women. It's about you, right? Because if, let's say, here's the thing: when people tell me "Oh, you're so smart," or "Oh, you're so good looking," or so whatever, any kind of compliment, right? I don't care. I'll be honest with you. If you guys can, I've been on the Hangout for years. You guys can go back. Not once have I described myself intelligent or anything like that, or nothing. For those adjectives, I don't care, because if you give people the power to gas you up and fill your head with that kind of stuff, it's a double-edged sword where you give people the power to, when they say you're ugly or say you're dumb, that they're valid. It doesn't matter. It's about you knowing yourself. As long as you're confident with yourself, you work up with yourself, have your own personal standards, right? Don't be just because this girl's good looking that you're just gonna go no, it's okay. I don't mind walking. Take my car with him. No problem. I could of course, you're gonna be walked all over. You have standards for yourself. You're no, if I see this red flag, this red flag, this red flag, I'm out. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You are entitled to be picky about the person you're choosing to be intimate with or spend your life with or whatever you want to be with. Just like they have the right to be picky, right? You have to work on yourself. And if you have any issues with a girl that rejects you and you think that she's a gold digger, my guy, bro, these are insecurities that you have in yourself. It's not insecurities that she has to be with. Because I'm going to be honest with you, and this is about me, right? When I was 18 years old, I lived by myself, right? I had moved from Syria over here to Canada by myself, and I didn't have a lot of money. My parents were going through war, and I actually didn't have communication with them. So anyways, there was my house was I was in high school, so my house was the spot for people to come, and we'd smoke and chill and have girls over and stuff like that. And there's this one girl that I really liked, right? And we clicked. We clicked. We'd go out, we'd kiss, and we were in it, but we weren't really official. Now, when I tried to be official with her, she rejected me, bro. And why? She was moving for university, fine. Then but to be honest with you, I had thought about it. After, I'm bro, even if she said yes to me, what the fuck am I gonna do with her? I don't have a car. I'm still in school. Come over to my house. Okay, you can hang out at my house for how long? Do I expect to entertain her and be a clown for the rest of my life? Bro, why do you want this girl? Do you even have the facilities to maintain that? Do you even have the facts to?
I think my thing is sort of is an inverse of that. My issue is I can tell that woman wants to settle down, and I'm I'm not really ready for that, because it's funny. There are two girls I was with where within about a few months after we separated, they either had a kid or they got married. And I was I am in no place whatsoever in my life to have a kid, and I'm never getting married. So marriage is never happening, but I'm in no place to have a kid right now. As in, my life cannot handle a child right now. But a lot of those women are I want a kid, or I want a kid soon, or I want to get married soon. So that kind of thing just totally changes the dynamic. And I think it's very important because, as you said, you have to be ready. You have to, if you want to do the whole settling down thing, you have to be ready. And also because, again, even because I've been to loads of weddings. I've been to 2 weddings of my really good friends, and even going there and just seeing them, I'm oh shit, these guys are in. They're in. And then you see these guys and man, I remember when we just used to just mess around and just go around. And now these guys are signing the contracts and everything, and they're fully married. But to get into the whole marriage thing, just want to know, this is where things get real. this is where things get really. Obviously, the two guys who are married, they're still happily married and everything, still great. But I'm like, the settling down thing is that's. Okay, so you want to get married though?
Oh, I'm ready, man. I'm ready. Like,
so you're ready to get married now?
Oh yeah, like I would like. Don't be surprised if, let's say, a year down the line, I just tell you, oh, like my wedding was like, I'll invite you actually to my wedding.
Yeah,
Because for me personally, like I'll be honest with you, pussy's pussy, guys. Like, trust me. You like people will tell you, oh, there's different flavors and different, bro. It's all the same, man. It's all the same. It's about the person, right? It's about the person. Two heads are better than one. At the end of the day, bro, I do want to have children. Like I actually look forward to having like a little me, whether it's a boy or a girl walking around.
No, because that is, I think, see, for me, marriage isn't that big a deal. I think the whole thing of like a child this is the next generation. Because again, like because again, I've got loads of little cousins and I just love just teaching them stuff of like, blah, 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 blah. And just to have like a child as in, okay, this is now, because that's how you become, I forgot who said it, that how you become immortal are through your kids. That's how you immortalize yourself. Is that because you're now carrying on your psychology, your name and everything through these kids that they have. So it's super important to have that.
I'll be honest with you, like the reason why I do it is that, like, look, this is what I believe, right? Personally, I believe like men genetically, like over thousands of years, how did we used to get dopamine naturally? Forget drugs, forget video games, forget music, forget movies, forget all this stuff. Let's go back to just man and earth. You would get your dopamine by being a hunter-gatherer, by providing, right? By being the provider for your people. That's how you attract a mate. That's how they would choose how women would select a partner in the past. They'd look at healthiness, health. That's the kind of stuff. That's how women naturally like it nowadays, like taller guys, because that's associated with strength and size, right? It's all genetics, right? So for me as a man, I could go, like, I'll be honest with you, HH, like, I have no problem with women. Financially, I'm not rich, but like I'm not bad either. I could travel, I could buy cars, I could do that stuff. Like I'm pretty decent. I have a full-time job. So like I have no problem in this aspect, but it's all meaningless. I could keep doing this for 3 years, and then 3 years from now, I'll be in the same spot with nothing really advanced in my life. That's at least how I looked at it. And I realized that, like, for me to really ultimately meet my ultimate like destiny of like and actually truly see happiness is to fulfill my role as a man, right? By providing, by like carrying on the human race, by educating my kids. These kind of things, like, I feel like are it's almost it's natural to us, and it's sort of it goes hand in hand with your happiness.
No, we're not like. That is true, but you also have to be ready. And that's the key thing. You have to know that.
Yes. You don't want to drag somebody in.
Yeah. You can't do it because, hey, this is what you should do. No, that's crap. And I think that's why you see a lot of divorces and a lot of messed up situations, because people feel, oh, I haven't married this, everything else. No. You shouldn't. Something this important, this key, you can't rush into it. Actually, let them just hit some dubs and then we can. So from your boy, Chainsaw Man DH, who says the moon landing is real. HH, do you believe we landed on the moon? I say no. I say Capricorn 1.
I don't think so. I think that was just American chauvinism flexing over Russia, to be
Capricorn 1, man. Capricorn 1. We didn't land on any freaking moon, man. That's it.
Do it again. Just do it again. Just do it in 4K, bro. That's all I ask. Just do it in 4K.
Do it in 4K Ultra HD.
That's it.
In 4K Ultra HD. Then I'll be like,
don't come and tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist, because like we had a moon landing where the flag was weird. The flag wasn't even supposed to be physically possible. The rocks had numbers on them. Like legit, you could see some like overlap sometimes where like the clip was going, like it was.
You landed on the moon in the 60s, but we don't have moon bases in 2021. Get the heck out of here, man.
Like, honestly, like, why do we have satellites? If you could, instead of having satellites in this room, just like put it on the moon, just have everything distribute over to the Earth.
So from your boy Matt Rosario, thank you for the dub. Thank you for the dub, Matt Rosario. Also, you have to understand you also have to understand that in the era we're in right now with social media and guys giving these women this free attention, you have no choice but to become a high value male and stand out.
No, Martin.
But what I will say though, free attention and everything, Instagram. Go to. Okay, look. Hey, I have my short list of Instagram babes that I say, hey, let's just say what's happening and everything. But you go to any of these Instagram ladies, and most of them use a filter for most of their stuff. If you go there, read the comments. Read the comments. There are guys out there that are, oh, heart emoji, blah, 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 who are just completely. And the worst thing you can do to a woman is not give her attention. Worst thing. Specifically, a very attractive woman.
Women live off of attention, bro. It's oxygen to them. The moment you stop giving her attention, she's going to cheat on you, bro.
No. They'll go mad. Like, and that's also the key thing. You see, the woman who wasn't attractive or anything, oh, she's regular and so forth. The woman who is attractive, who knows she's attractive because she knows how other women view her and how other men view her, you don't give her attention, she'll go mad. But the issue is that Instagram is like the hotbed of attention. Hence why the women, they live off Instagram and so forth, and they spend hours filtering and clearly defining what their picture looks like. But it's interesting what Martin says, that social media age and how maybe dating has changed and how you now have to now present yourself as a guy. Because how do you now stand out in today's age as opposed to back in the 90s where there was no internet, there was no social media? You had to go to social groupings, you had to go to parties, you had to go to get-togethers, and so you had to actually meet people. There was no Instagram, there was no Twitter, there was no image. So the dynamics was different in like the 90s as opposed to now.
Here's the thing. All that attention they have is nothing, bro. It's an illusion. It's smoke and mirrors. None of it matters. It all it does is will gas their heads up, right? And they'll believe that they're Kim Kardashian clones. Which there's a funny video. I want to send it to you, where this girl, she thinks she's Kim Kardashian and Kanye, and her boyfriend looks like Kanye. Where her boyfriend's just a black guy. He doesn't look anything like Kanye. He's just a black guy.
Well, no, and like it is weird because like there are a lot of women who I think they use plastic surgery to look like Kim Kardashian.
Here's the thing, AJ. Here's the thing. Now, look, you go on her Instagram. She has 4 million followers. Everybody's just like simping over her. She has a fat ass. But bro, under the video where they were like showing like the video where they doing like a little mini documentary about her, she was getting roasted because all that compliments gassed her up and made her deluded. She actually thinks that she looks like Kim Kardashian. She's like a clone. She's like this money branded, like Chanel, all this stuff. Like in reality, it was an illusion. She was hyped out by social media. It means nothing. And also on top of that, just to tell you, it means nothing, bro. Martin, I could sit here every day and compliment you, bro. It's just to be like, oh, Martin, bro, you're looking shredded, bro. Oh, Martin, like dope fit. Like, oh, Martin, like all that drip. Like, you'd zone me out. But if I come one day and like just randomly, a guy just comes running away and randomly criticizes you, says something about, let's say, your hairline or your weight or your clothes, you're gonna remember that forever, right? By the way, if you ever want to bond with a girl, guys, here's a quick piece of game. Don't find something that you guys both like. Find something that you guys both hate. That conversation will just go on for 2 hours. Works 100% of the time. Trust me.
Anyways, but my thing though is that, okay, that guy that criticizes the lady, now it could stick, but the lady can be like, well, look, I mean, they may, or what they could do again, he goes back to Instagram. So this guy that says, oh my gosh, you're such an ugly bitch, blah, blah, blah. She can then screenshot that, put that as a picture of one of her stories and share it with her millions of followers. And the millions of followers will now clown that dude and call that dude a loser. So the numbers will outweigh. So it goes back to the attention that this woman gets. And this woman, the positive attention far outweighs the negative. So you as a guy now trying to attract this lady who has millions of followers and millions of likes and everything, you have to have it has to be a wholly different tact. Because it's one thing going to a party and there are all of these guys wanting to speak to the girl and so forth, as opposed to now on Instagram where she can now reach millions instantly, which she couldn't back in the day without Instagram. So the level of game is different. So actually, Gentleman said, I can give you facts.
You follow me, bro. We follow each other on Twitter. Send me those facts. I will actually watch
please.
videos or anything you send me. I will read it through and we'll talk about it on the next week's episode.
Because I've seen docs and so forth, and they've said, nah, it didn't happen.
I need to see it. But one thing I just want to mention on that last point, just before we get to that the next comment, is that what I mean, like, by it's like that, all that tension doesn't matter. Like, look, as a guy, trust me, when you're going down your own path, they will naturally gravitate to you. You don't even have to go and pursue them. Like, when they see that, like what Martin said, if you do what Martin's saying, like, be confident in yourself and you have your own path and you're adamant in what you're doing, bro, people naturally see that as security and they will come towards you. Again, you're not going to attract every woman on the planet. There is nobody that can attract every woman on the planet. You will attract a woman. You will attract somebody. Like, the people will follow suit, right? And like, I feel like that's just the most powerful thing. Is like, bro, set a plan for yourself, set structure for yourself. Be like, you know what, I'm going to do this job. Even you could. The thing is, for women, it doesn't matter what you do. They will love you if you're a janitor, if you're a convict, if you're a doctor, it doesn't matter. You see women all the time cheat on doctors for guys that have nothing going on for them. It's just about having that respect for yourself, having value for yourself, having your path. That to them is just more attractive, in my opinion, at least. Right?
So actually, we'll just round off because I'm actually starving and it's easy for the anger. So Costly Awesome says social media platforms. Also, great image, by the way. I love that image, Costly Awesome, and like Maradona USA 94 goal against Greece. Social media platforms should be public utilities. I disagree. Because again, it means that they now have to be controlled. I think that it is right that social media platforms exist the way they are, i.e. they are private companies. Hence why, so they have their own specific guidelines guided by whether it's the board, the owner, or so forth. Why does it have to be a public utility? Because it's now become hugely popular and famous. The reason why I love Twitter is because it's like the Wild West. There is a freedom and a rawness to it that it's so mad and crazy that you just go out there and you don't know what you'll find. If you now control Twitter, it's like you take the fun away from it. Like, what I love about Twitter is that I can just find, wait, how did I end up here? What did I see here? Because it's madness. And that's basically, it was almost like Chappelle Show. There was this episode of the Chappelle Show where like he was inside the internet and he would just meet all these random crazy people. And it just shows that's what the internet is. It's like if you just go into this crazy, like you go into this mall and you're just seeing mad man, mad person, mad things, alien shape from everywhere. And that's just what is the whole fun. So to now make it this official public utility thing, then it's like, no, man. So Redman, any final words? Because no, this has been a really good.
Yeah, man, always a pleasure. I always enjoy these talks, man. I actually look forward to them every week. We always have like some dope-ass conversations, but no, man, nothing really much. I just want to tell everybody, you guys, just like hopefully you guys enjoyed this.
Sorry, last so from Chainsaw and DH again says that the moon, anime, gaming, music, and girls. Next topics. You see, next topic I want to do. Maybe we'll do. Because I think basically, because we're guys, we're always going to have a space for women talk. It's always going to happen. So talking about guys and women, so that's will always be there in and out. Yeah. So
I'm not an expert on women. I'm an expert from a guy that's like, likes women. That's my expertise. So guys,
but that's how it works. Women talk about guys all day, but that's from a woman's perspective. I mean, so we should be able to talk about women, but what? Talking about
but what's that saying that says like you don't ask a gazelle on how to hunt a gazelle, you ask a lion, like
yeah. So but also I want to definitely talk about mental health because I was actually in
I'm watching the fight for Floyd versus Paul. I'm just going to respond because somebody did ask that earlier too. I'm going to watch the Floyd versus Paul fight. I'm very looking forward to that.
No, I'm not like. I respect boxing as a sport. That's a joke.
I do too, HH. I 100% do too. And trust me, like I'm my respect for Floyd is going down and down because like when he was professional, he was like marketing his hateability. I didn't mind that. I actually loved that. But now that like you're out of the sport, you're 50, you have it all. You made money. You don't need to validate this guy. But especially because like
there's no way I'm rooting for Jake Paul. You must be smoking crack, bro. I'm not
Floyd, bro. You need Floyd to go in there. Like Floyd's gonna pick him apart. In my opinion, Floyd's gonna pick him apart.
They said there are no winners or losers.
No, it won't count. Like, it won't count to anybody's professional record. Like,
Yeah.
it won't count to a professional record. But like, still, it's going to be like an exhibition, which is going to be interesting. But I really think like if like, because they're saying there's going to be no helmets, it's going to be full contact. With 12 rounds.
Like, I think that's like 8 3-minute rounds.
Yep. And so I think I just feel like over time, like, Floyd's just going to pick this guy apart. He's going to pick his punches, just to sun him in the sport of boxing, not kick his ass, and nobody's going to be satisfied.
I'd have loved in like a separate universe is peak Floyd against Canelo Alvarez now. That would have been a great fight, and I still think Floyd wins.
Oh yeah. Floyd. The thing is, I don't think any experienced boxer can really get Floyd, because Floyd just defensively is just too good.
Yeah, like you can't hit him.
Like, as a sport, because people have to understand, like, boxing is not fighting; it is a sport. Like, it is a point system.
It's a discipline, yeah.
Yeah, and like Floyd, he is the king of that. Because even if a fighter were to get one punch off on Floyd and get that point, Floyd's going to respond with 2 or 3 flurries. He's too quick, right?
It's look like Wesley said that Floyd could get 100 mil.
Easy, man. Easy. He's going to get way more than that.
And that is why so many of these guys are trying to fight these dudes, because they're going to earn more money, specifically from losing. Red, well, I know what this is about. They take the fight and they get a phone call that says, do you really want to make a lot of more money? These poor kids are famous beyond belief. If you lose and it raises their profile, you could get paid a ridiculous amount of money. And guys are like, sure, fine, who cares? So let's see, me losing to this blonde kid
it's gonna be
is going to earn me more money than all of the 50, 60 wins I've racked up in the octagon. And that's just reality.
The thing is that, like, the only thing what frustrates me about this whole thing, like, I actually have a headache now thinking about it, is that, like, for the casual fight, like, watcher, like the people who don't follow boxing, who just like are just following because of Jake Paul, like, this is gonna disrespect the sport and set it back like years. Like, legit years. It's gonna be like, it's gonna take a long time, because Floyd is looked at. People really think Floyd's a GOAT. I don't think so. We talked about this before,
yeah.
But like, I think he's up there. He's a great fighter defensively, but people are gonna use that, and man, it's just I really. Floyd better win, man. Floyd better win, because if he doesn't win, bro, he's a scrub.
For me, I'm like, fights on an official boxing fight. If it's not official, I don't care.
Yeah, I'm never gonna defend it ever again. Like, nobody.
So see, my things are, what match is next Sunday in the Euros? But let me just check Euro 20 just to see whether it doesn't clash with anything. So let me see. So next Sunday, Euros. So Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Sunday, what is Sunday? Okay, yeah.
England, Croatia.
Oh, is that next Sunday? England, Croatia.
Next Sunday, England, Croatia, Netherlands, Ukraine, and then Portugal's playing a friendly against Nigeria, and there's Copa America games scheduled.
So basically, we'll see. We'll see if we'll be able to do another show. I mean, if anything, we'll be able just to record it offline, or maybe we just do it really late. Actually, what we'll do is we'll just do it later. So maybe after the games, we will do it like super late, and you guys can have like a nice late night Sunday night show. So guys, peace out, stay true, and we'll see you guys next week at maybe a much later time after the Euro games, guys. Peace.
Have a good one, guys. Peace.